Before you ask me my question, in terms of, I think we should jelly between 90-year-old and the 10-year-old. Yeah. But I fully understand what Mheshimiwa is alluding to in terms of we have so much youth energy, and you can see now they're even misdirecting the energy into throwing shoes in presidential meetings. You know, there are so many young people and so many professionals. And I think what he's saying, which I think is extremely important, is that we should come to the stage and leave the stage, at least do our contribution and leave, not suffocate and you know, sort of suppress the youthful energy that is also supposed to be used here, in terms of age. Yes. But everything else, I do agree. I mean, I don't understand why the people of Nyanza are actually lying to William Ruto, especially the Luo Nyanza. When you look at what happened in Migori, prior to that, you saw how the Homa Bay County governor was lamenting about the assassination of the MP, and then Raila Odinga was absent. I mean, I don't understand why the people of Luo Nyanza actually are sort of wanapanga president. I don't understand why. This is the first time they are doing it. I can understand that they want to be in government, and they also want to be part of the national cake, as has been said by Oburu Odinga every other time he holds a mic. That, I think, nobody can resist. You can see Makau Mutua has also gone into, I mean, earning salary and enjoying a piece of the nation's cake. It's not some gift from the sitting president. It's your right. It's your right to work. It's your right to be employed. But in terms of we support you for 2027 and we support you, you know, politically. You see, you and me have a duty to actually support the president. That's a fact. You and me have a duty to support the president, maintain our sovereignty, the color of the country, and we move forward our economy. We all have that duty. Okay. But going to the extent of saying it's only you, we want you, and then at the same time you realize the president is actually using very strong words against the same people who are supporting him. Such words like tutawahamisha. You know, so why is this part of our country lying to the president that we are with you, and then you find those kind of skirmishes? Is it an
indication of President William Ruto's precarious position, if at all we call it that, in the broad-based arrangement, that he goes to Luo Nyanza, the kind of treatment we see even with the shoe throwing, the statements being given by the politicians there, them turning development tour into one to discuss ODM issues?
Yeah, okay, partly, but I look at it this way. When a community decides to stand with you as a community, it means they have made that decision. And once they have made that decision, you also using your intelligence to know whether it is true, they have made that decision fully. So it is not necessarily an indicator of precarious situation of the president as in a whole nation, but I am focusing on the Luo Nyanza treatment of his Migori tour, for example, and the way Gladys Wanga was lamenting. So yes, if, look at, I'm sorry, I'm not digressing, but look at the Kisii, for example, the way they stood with the Kenyatta family, original Kenyatta family. Then they came in, they were not very cozy with Moi, but, you know, then they came to Uhuru, and the way they stood together with him. So they don't change. And if that president comes to that region, he's received with tremendous appreciation and passion. So why now, when you say that we have given you room in government, you come from Luo Nyanza, how do they treat the president that way? I mean, that is unacceptable. And like I found Mheshimiwa was talking, I think there are some things that are basic. You don't throw objects to the head of state. Whether he is in the most intimidating region, you don't go that extent, because then it means something else. Even for our, you know, global view, the way people look at us, you don't throw objects to the head of state. That's one. But at the same time, Fred, I wish we can understand that Kenya is one of the most trained countries in terms of intelligence. In fact, I can easily tell you that some people in the circle of the president who are in charge of intelligence either knew or should have known that there is likely to be something wrong untoward from that side. And they must protect the president. We cannot be, you saw what happened in the US. Of course, accidents can happen all over, but intelligence around the president is tamper-proof. It's, I mean, even Trump was then not a president. I mean, you can imagine if it was the actual, sitting president. You don't do that. Of course, that happened in Iraq one time when people threw shoes also to George Bush. But again, you can see that it's in a room, it is journalists, so we can pick out quickly it is journalist so-and-so who has thrown the shoes. So, but in such public gatherings, I think also the head of state, and we said this before, he should not be charging the crowd towards campaigns this early.
Do you think it does too much, is too available? Because I've seen some criticism on social media that the president is everywhere. He's meeting people every day. People are now too used to him.
But we've said this, and he has been criticized for engaging on vehicle, rooftops and going all over, which could be okay if there was a specific, either church attendance or development activity. But the urge to go into the rooftop of a car every other time to greet every Tom, Dick, and Harry is actually discrediting the presidency. And we never saw this in the past. It is something developing, and it's coming in more like an exchange with youth, an exchange with people, telling them off, and bringing out what is not exactly a presidential in terms of a decorum.
Right. The front page of the Standard, the big headline this morning is Ruto